So let's get into it. We have ourselves here. We're looking at our scrim. Opponents are about 3.2, and we are set up to attack, and it looks like we're going to play some double bubble, which sounds quite fine. So here we are. We did this. We went, hey, we got some nice energy to start. There's a turret somewhere. We're going to go deal with the turret. Given that there's this turret situation, are we likely to make a real engage before our next bubble is up?
No.
So we probably could have used another bubble here, right? Maybe it's the personal bubble because the turret's focused on us, but like we're probably going to be able to use one bubble here. It's not going to be great energy, but it's going to stop us from falling behind as much as we are going into this next thing. Because I'm not going to need this personal bubble again. We're not going to run over the opponents until we've done a little bit more to set up our DPS, a little bit more with at least like one energy cycle jump from our Winston. Is that a fair conclusion?
I'd say so, yeah.
So even though this isn't like a great energy bubble, this probably needed to be a bubble, either on us or if the Winston decided that he was going to line of sight because that was the plan, he could have done it. But on Zarya's cheaper, so Zarya's personal bubble, let's do that. Okay, would have been nice to get a little bit more there. That's fine. Now we're going to look to set up. We get some there. We can go like this, sure. We can go like this. That was always a little bit of a low probability route that we were going to send our Winston through. So, like, before we go any deeper into this point, we're not going to, like, jump into here. We might jump over to here, but we probably want to deal with this first. We probably don't want to fight on point while this Orisa is up here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's super annoying while she has Fortify, but it looks like sneezing at her is enough to get Fortify out. So, So what we're actually going to do is we're going to go, hey, forget all this. My Winston's not pathing through here or there's all this stuff to stuff him out. He's just going to straight do a soft dive onto the Orisa. The Orisa's only going to get the range support from here. And this can be a Zarya bubble only jump, or it can be a Zarya bubble then Winston bubble jump. I don't really care. The point is it's going to pull some pressure to the Orisa. It's likely to get the Fortify out, and it's going to give your Tracer time to get in around here, right? So, like, we're generally looking for a little bit of a cycle with our double bubble. Of our first jump is sort of, hey, we need to get our Zarya some energy, and we need to get our DPS in because we're not set up to dive right here. Like right now, everyone is stacked together. This would be a really weak dive, other than the fact that Orisa already wasted her Fortify. So we kind of plan for our first dive to be a bit more of a soft one that we use to get energy for our Zarya and for our DPS to get in more. That might mean Tracer goes around here. It might mean Echo goes over up here and contributes to it, but is contributing from here where she can, get some help. It might be Echo starts to pop up here and do some work, whatever the case may be. But Echo, we're not going to go for a real hard commit where our Winston's life is in any serious danger or where our DPS are in any serious danger or where a backline runs at an enemy to help finish them off. Like later, after making this Orisa drop, we might go, okay, now we're going to hard commit and our Orisa and our Winston dives and our Zarya and Ana walk at the Sigma type thing as our Echo comes in and our Tracer comes in from an angle. Like that could be a thing where a backline goes in, but that's not going to happen on the first dive pretty much ever. Does that fit your guys' understanding, or does this feel like new information?
That all makes sense to me, at least.
Yeah.
Okay, let me turn you up a little bit there because one of you is quite quiet. That should fix that. Okay.
Sorry about that.
You're fine. So the Winston goes in. The Tracer uses this time to take angles. The Echo's sort of going in to support it. That's perfectly fine. And we don't need to deal with this Orisa. We did. That's great. That's fantastic. We're just stalling, waiting for our next bubble, which we should now have. Do we have both of them? Maybe a touch? No, that's fine. That's fine. It looks like you guys kind of elected for another sort of soft positional dive here, which is okay. It's okay to go, hey, we're going to do another one that this is just for position. There's no one really up here, so that's the thing that we needed to communicate if that's what we were doing. If this was a, hey, what were the comms like here? Because this is totally fine to go, I'm diving and I'm diving to take this space from
I
them. Go ahead.
I thought Bap was still in cafe.
Okay. Okay.
There was a call that Bap was in cafe, so I didn't know that he left cafe.
Okay.
Yeah, he snuck out the back door there while we were dealing with Arisa.
Yeah, I thought Bap was there where I was jumping.
No problem. So that's the type of thing that, we want to make sure that we have the communication to avoid that. Obviously, we're trying not to spend too much time scouting as Winston because that is expensive. We tend to lose health in that stage scout phase. And
Yeah,
we go
no,
go ahead.
I just try not scouting. I'm like trying to have the DPS do the scouting for me here.
Okay. So we definitely had the information with our Zarya here that, we certainly know that BAP's not there anymore. So if a plan is going on of like, hey, we're gonna dive BAP on the cafe, well, I don't know, guys. I don't think BAP is there anymore. So like we did have this information in our team, which is a little bit, like we want to clear that out. So how would we communicate that? I don't know if our Zarya player is here, but how would we communicate that the target, like BAP's not there, BAP moved? Like how would we communicate that on our comms currently?
I would think we could just say that either like map dropped or that like they're all by elevator or something.
Sure. Either of those sound perfectly fine to me. And that probably changes the plan. And what that also does is it causes Winston might still jump where he did, but we're definitely not going to get a bubble here. What might happen instead is literally 2 seconds later, Winston is going to drop back here
Yeah.
for the same dive call, then he gets the bubble, and Tracer's going to come in the same way. And this is still going to be a perfectly fine play. But because our sort of understanding, plan, attention paying wasn't there, we didn't get the communication, we jumped here, Winston didn't find the target he expected, we got the bubble. Now it's tough for us to engage. Now Winston has to do like a standard zap pressure you from above engage without actually dropping, without actually feeding our Zarya, which is just going to hurt the strength of our play a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that is what we need to do. And again, because the information's not here, I think our Winston goes down here. That's a little unfortunate because we do get the information that there's a Hanzo right there. We don't know where the BAP is, but we do see that there's a Hanzo right there, and it sure would have been nice to be getting big, nice cleave damage on this. But again, the scouting isn't getting past. So like, you guys have some form of comm structure. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but go ahead.
It's been a little in flux lately because we've Lunar is the newest member of our team. We've been looking for a main tank for a while, and we just picked up Lunar, and it's going good so far. But we're all kind of trying, and this practice especially was us all kind of trying to hit our groove.
Sure.
Well, we're just kind of like, that's what I was saying before about like just kind of developing a little bit of synergy. That does include our comms because sometimes, like for example, there are primarily two different people who bounce back and forth between like ult tracking instead of dedicating it to one usually. So there's some stuff like that is still getting settled.
That's fine. That's totally fine. What does it look like in terms of I was hearing that, hey, we're trying to leave it to the DPS to do the scouting, and that's got uses, sure. What does it look like in terms of, like, the actual doing of the scouting might be a DPS job, but do we have, like, everyone providing information calls, like locations that they think are relevant of opponents, when someone's low health, when important cooldowns come out? Do we have everyone doing that, or are there people on the team who, their comm role is strictly ult tracking and they don't do anything else?
I think they're doing that. I think.
I'm trying to do mostly ult tracking. On some characters, I have like 600 hours on Lucio. I can play Lucio while I'm brain dead.
Sure.
And when I'm doing that, I can provide ult tracking. I can also keep track of like such and so's hiding over here, or such and so's low, and I will say that sometimes. But with characters I don't have that kind of bazillion hours on, it's I'm mostly trying to focus on ult tracking.
Okay.
And sometimes one of the problems we have is occasionally we will have too much different calling. So like if somebody calls out or like everybody calls out everyone else's position so that our actual target can get a little muffled or something like that on occasion.
Okay.
Mhm.
So there's a couple ways to handle that. It sort of depends ultimately on what comp structure you guys want, and you guys might be early enough that you don't know yet, because it sounds like you just changed out some pieces, just added your tank. You're
Yeah,
just
this is my second scrim. I
perfect,
had a
perfect.
scrim in this, my second one.
Yep, no problem. So it sounds like you guys might not have it totally ironed out. So I'm hesitant to let me rephrase that. I'm hesitant to be too prescriptive before you guys have had more chance to feel something out and settle on something and figure out if it's working or not. Like what I usually prescribe for this kind of comp would be, hey, I want someone that's doing the. Oh, let me grab your last person.
Oh, yep.
Okay, there we go.
Hey,
So what I'd usually prescribe in terms of how I like comp structures to work for this kind of comp at least would be, hey, we have our ult tracking maybe done by one person, maybe that's our main support, maybe that's someone else. Sounds like it's our main support here. And then we have our target calling done sort of by two people. So that might be someone like Winston, who both has a limited range and, needs to combine with other people for damage. And then the secondary caller, maybe that's a Zarya, maybe that's a Tracer. Doesn't Maybe that's a Zenyatta player who, when they're not on Zen still does it because it's just comfortable. Whatever the case may be, but I'd usually set up like two target callers and I'd sort of make everyone else's job, so that's four people, or maybe if you remove the ult tracker from that, but I wouldn't, it's still four people that are making location callouts. And everyone just sort of knows who the target callers are versus everyone else's calls are information callouts that the target callers can then jump on. So I don't want to like prescribe this as your solution yet, because there's totally other ways to do comp structures. There 100% are, but that's something that you guys might want to consider as your way if you're not finding success, or if you're feeling it out and it's not working. Like you can go full Socratic with comp structures for target calling, for example, and that's totally fine for some teams, but it really depends on the specific team. And if that's not working, something like this with like two people that you can hold accountable for target calling and one that is actually the priority caller and it's sort of the second person's job to get on their target if they can, tends to work pretty well. And then you can really get on everyone else for, hey, we got to call it when we see that the BAP isn't there. Hey, we got to call it when we see that, there's someone half health out of position. Hey, we got to call it when we see that they don't have their lamp anymore, that kind of thing. Does that
mhm.
sort of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Winston's sort of out there, doesn't really have the good bubble tools, doesn't have a great engagement direction. Like, yes, it's cool that it's a different angle than his team, but it's a little unfortunate because this bubble is, effectively in the wall here, not really working, and it's certainly not as strong as we would have had from up here, plus BAP is able to retake this from us. So poor communication, poor decision, and also our Zarya, didn't get energy as a result of this. And now we're going to have to go in. This is going to have to be real. And this team is just going to have to dedicate itself at this point to running down Sigma. Like this backline here, these, 5 people, at this point, their play is to remove Sigma. Like that's sort of going to have to be the solution. And let's see if it is. It's not. So where'd our Tracer go? Our Tracer joined on the BAP. Okay, that was the other option if you had the blinks. Yeah, you still had your triple blink. Okay, so this is potentially okay because we were able to salvage this with Tracer had the mobility left to do the double blink across to get on the BAP, and hey, that was the original plan, so I understand that. But usually what we'd be looking to do here is we actually would be looking to go, hey, there was the Sigma in this vulnerable position, and while this comp has sort of 4 fangs to its attack, its 4 fangs are the Winston, the Tracer, the Echo, and then the rest of the core sort of running at a target. And the Mercy doesn't really count because she's, kind of with the Echo. Maybe she's with the Zarya, etc. But we do have, hey, Zarya with Ana support. Hey, Ana actually does want to be able to potentially contribute offensive shots, potentially hit a nade, etc. I know it's a lot because your Ana's also focused on your Winston, but we do want to think a little bit about what our ground team can do there.
So I do have a question with that too, because like I
Please.
get why the Sigma's out of position, of course, and all
Yep.
that. If the BAP had still been there and we focused the Sig, and for whatever reason, just don't immediately delete him.
Mhm.
And Bat throws out a lamp, for example, and then gets a couple nades on him and all that. Like, is it still better for us to still focus on the Bat because of that, or just ignore that and just go straight for the Sig?
Well, so what you run into is because our Tracer had 3 blinks left, the BAP was a real possibility. I actually didn't expect at that phase in the fight where the Winston has already wandered out around as much as they did that our Tracer had triple blink available to them, so could spend 2 blinks like this. I didn't really expect that. But what you'd run into is this engagement was like super messy in the first place. It led us into a bad situation where we're trying to take what's left. And you're really at a point where, yes, if you get the lamp over here on the Sigma, that's going to be super annoying. And you are sort of looking for a cooldown shuffle where you can potentially change targets and go, hey, we've got flight, we've got jump pack back. Now let's swap back to the BAP. Like calling a hard target swap if the lamp comes out, perfectly valid.
Okay.
But we are a dive comp of sorts, a dive, brawl, ult combo, whatever type of comp you want to think about it as, and that would have been okay, have we recovered the resources to, in a synchronized manner, go after that BAP? Because I'm not sure I expected the Tracer to, here, let's go back here. I mean, that was nice, but how often does that happen? Right? Like, we just sort of we just sort of were like, oh, look, lots of headshots on the BAP with one clip. Like, we did a little poke from far, we got a little bit of mercy help, but like, that's not, usually this is a fair bit longer of a engage that we have here, so we're actually looking with this comp to have a little bit of cooldown synchronization to swap over and burst down that, or to go, okay, everybody press W at the Sigma. Yes, it would have potentially been hard, and yes, the BAP almost certainly would have lamped their Sigma. Not a ton we can do other than, one clip. But we're not going to design our strategy around Tracer, just go one clip the BAP. Come on now.
Right.
I think at this point we called that Torb was being annoying and
I like that that's your...
decided to win the point instead of dealing with him.
Okay. I don't love this distribution of labor, but we got it done. Okay. Emerald, this is probably a jump over here and zap from above type situation. You just don't have the health to be body blocking that door.
Objective lost. Stop the payload.
And if I don't know if this is the point where I fuck up my. No, I'm fine here.
Okay.
I remember I just got run down by Soldier who was like standing behind us.
Sure.
I remember one time where I just really fucked up some Mercy flight and
Sure.
got stuck in that awkward place and got killed.
I get it. That unfortunately is a thing that happens. Let's go back to actually sort of the beginning of this engagement. You guys are looking for staggers, looking to take the space. And you should be able to sync up another jump plus dive here.
Soldier's just in the street and he got a bunch of headshots on me, I think.
I'm
'Cause I
actually
went from-
less worried about losing your Winston here, or losing your Mercy here, and more surprised that, again, I'd like to get some level of synchronization here where, hey, our Winston is plenty healthy enough, the Ana will be able to even heal them on the way in, and if our Echo is going up, I would like our Winston to sort of be going at the same time. Like, we want to actually get control of this. This is important. Go ahead.
Here, I wasn't even. I didn't hear comments that they were engaging.
Yeah, no, I doubt there were, and I think that's probably what we need to work on.
I was trying to calm, like I'm jumping like in. I need scouting and then I'm gonna jump.
Got
I
it.
wasn't sure who was up there.
Got it.
I was just waiting for that.
So Mosaic, let's make sure we get the call that, the Diva's up here, high ground winnable, something along those lines, because this is the sort of thing where this should be a second 3-man push effectively of you, Winston, and Mercy here. Now we lost Mercy, so maybe that changes things, but in reality, it doesn't change things here, right? Like this looks perfectly winnable.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would say, yeah.
Yeah. So this looks perfectly winnable, and this is something we want. Like, if we can get early control of that this is the first half of the point that we can win right here. So yeah, we're happy to do that. We'd like to make that communication. We really want to make sure that in general we're making our communication, because clearly that's something that our tank is expecting. Our tank is trying to not spend a ton of health scouting. It's not the end of the world to spend a little bit of health in your scouting staging in this particular composition, specifically because of how charging up Nano works and how good Nano is and the Nano Primal circle and how that all works. Like, it's not the end of the world to spend a little health as long as you can then get healed back up for it. I'm not personally a fan of the let's just stand there and get shot to get Nano all the way. Like, you can do it to get like the last 10% or whatever, but like all the way. But because there is enough value to it, it's not the end of the world as Winston to go, hey, I'm taking a little bit of damage here as part of my scouting and organized play. But regardless, this should have been communicated, because even if you guys are a little off sync, we still do want to use our cooldown power together. That's our bread and butter. If we go with Tracer and Echo and Zarya Bubble and Winston, we have a lot of success. If we go in one at a time, our sustained power isn't as powerful as that of a normal poke comp or a normal brawl comp, right?
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Sure, let's take our angle control. So, like, again, there's very little reason for us to not go, you know what? I want to be up here, because this is just going to give us so many more engagement options. I can drop back and engage for my team. I can potentially engage for this alley. I can engage forward. I can engage over the back. I'm not likely to unless we're doing like a big nano commit, which we don't have anymore. So again, not likely to. But there's very little reason to not be, say, up here where you just get more engagement option directions. That's going to be fine. We don't care in the slightest if they're in there. Okay, so clearly we're sort of split in two worlds here, and we didn't really reset. Like, what we recognize is, even though the fight is happening, this is a reset, right? Like, we all have all of our cooldowns, mostly, and, like, we have our cooldowns, relatively speaking. We're all stable. We all have health. We're all in relatively the same place. We can call the brawl with Ryan here, or we can call a different target, but we have the ability to dive on something if something's there now, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We might not this second, because it might be like, oops, did just spend flight, did just spend bubble. But, for the last 3 or 4 seconds, we've had that option. And we are not really recognizing that, this is what stabilizing looks like for a sort of dive comp. And after those stabilizations, we need to be looked to committing on something together, unless something just walks into us like this, and then we go, okay, I guess we'll just take the fight without our cooldowns. And I don't mind going, hey, let's take the fight with this Reinhardt. I can live with that. It's not amazing, but we can take this. I don't so much love pushing this in the separate, hey, I'm also going to go fight this. Like, you can definitely beat this Brig, but that's not some super... You will beat this Brig if it comes to it. That's how that matchup works. But again, I'm sort of looking for, hey, can we make a real play happen? Can we make something more serious happen than just we're fighting a Rhine Shield and we're fighting a Brig? What's that?
I was calming to go on Brig here. Is it bad to calm that?
Um,
That Brig's like
no, it
out
could have.
and out of position?
Yeah, no, Brig is totally vulnerable. Brig is totally vulnerable, and going on Brig here could have been fine. This is one of these things where, again, our target calling needs to work out. I suspect the stickiness, the easy thing for most teams to do, the easier things for most players to do is keep doing what they're doing, which is burning the Rhine. But we haven't really burnt this Rhine that successfully. And he's now backed into his healer's line of sight. He's still got a good 70% of his HP, and his shield isn't cracked. So I actually think the comm onto Brig is a good one. The problem is our team has already fanned out pretty big for, and not really fanned out right. Like, if this is what we're doing, we need better angles, guys. Our Echo needs to be up here type thing. Our Tracer needs to be thinking about making this angle more extreme. Like, this is, how do I want to put this? This is pretty shallow. Like, both of our DPS are shooting down main, which is just, like, not a formation that can happen for us. And if we'd kept our Echo over here, we'd thought about, hey, our Tracer, potentially staying on a tighter angle here or going wider here, we might have more in terms of options to swap to this Brig. I think the Brig is fine, but I think we're down to, we're going to need to clean up our target prioritization in terms of who actually owns the target prioritization. Because maybe there's an expectation that it's our monkey, but then maybe there's not a following of the monkey, and there's not always going to be a 100% following of the target caller. Like, I do want to be clear there. A target caller is not a 100%, let me, blink 3 times across the map to get on it when I'm on someone that's at 30% HP. Like, there's not perfect following of a target caller, but we definitely did have 2 different views of what was happening here going on, and we do need some level of priority. And I don't know if our callers are hey, we're using a Socratic method, and because there were more people echo calling Reinhardt, we should have swapped to Reinhardt. Or if this is a case of, hey, maybe Zarya's our secondary caller, or maybe Zarya's our primary caller, but let's pretend Zarya's our secondary caller and was calling Reinhardt when needed to go ahead and adjust and recognize, no, I can swap over to the primary caller's thing. It's not going to be hard for me to get on the Brig, etc. So again, I'm going to be hesitant to prescribe you the comp fix when you have new stuff like this, but that is a format that I can recommend if Socratic calling isn't working for you, and based on this fight, it doesn't look like it is. Fair?
Right.
No, that's definitely fair.
Okay.
Locking on.
Game on.
Well, so we used our Primal. That got our Winston out of a bad situation and is going to get us the res, but unfortunately we're still down and they have a Primal going, or they have a rally going. So we need to keep the team back while we deal with the Brig. And we're now going to use our own Duplicate and our Grab. So this was not called. Like, I think it's unlikely that you guys called your ult usage really at all for this fight. Was there a good... I know we didn't really have a reset between fights here, so I doubt that there was much in terms of a plan for this fight on ult usage. This has been sort of a long fight without a full reset. You guys actually had a reset, but I doubt you recognized it as such. So, like, are these ults being called as people are doing them? Are these ults being called at all? Are they being called, hey, I'm looking to do this? Are we hearing anything in terms of ult communication?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, this was one of the times where we all kind of... I think you're right that we just weren't recognizing the reset, and our minds were all still in, like, long fight mode. And we started... The longer the fight goes on, I think the more likely someone is to use an ult reactively.
Sure. And unplanned
when
ults,
they see something.
Unplanned ults happen. That's fine. I don't have an issue with unplanned ults. I have an issue with unplanned ults in the form of, we used our Primal reactively. Yep, that's fine. And we got Rally out for it, so no big deal. But I'm looking at this Grab and this Duplicate used after our Tracer is gone and we don't have res, and I'm like, well, maybe you justify one of those, but I'm not sure you justify both without first getting some value from the first one. Like, I'm looking at this and going, hey, if people are calling their ults, even if you're just shouting your ult or authoritatively saying your ult, grabbing, copying, Rhine, whatever, as you're doing it with some authority behind it, that's at least going to communicate to the team, that does 2 things. It's a good reminder to the team of, we're using an ult, we're powerful, we have to get something done, we should be trying to get aggressive because we're using a powerful ult, a Grab, a Duplicate, a Primal. Really, any ult we're using, we sort of want our team we want our team to get that extra notification, push pressure, etc. of, hey, it's time to go do something. We want to yoink their attention to, we have ult power going more quickly than they might automatically get. But also, it's a reminder that we just used an ult, which gives you a moment, an instant's hesitation of, wait, do I want to pour another strong ult into this? Like, if we just duplicated, do I want to pour a grav into this? If it's not really good. So, like, it does both of those things, and I think both of those things would probably help you guys here. So, it's one of the things that I frequently give to teams. It's one of the first things that I often give to teams of literally call your ults. Like, it does not take that much mental space or effort, and it does provide some pretty noticeable benefits in terms of preserving your ult economy and making your ults a little more effective. It's like almost increasing the duration of your ults by getting your team to pay attention to them a little bit faster. Doesn't have to be like you call 2 seconds ahead that you're using your ult, but as you're using your ult, because, you know, you don't decide that you're using your ult until you see that perfect moment, maybe, even if that's how you use your ult, please call it as you're pressing the button, okay?
Right.
Okay.
Got it.
Helden sterben nicht.
Okay, well, this match is over. I mean, the match isn't over, but you guys are going to lose this team fight after having just used Valk, Grav, Duplicate, and Primal, and your ult economy is going to be junk for the next 2 minutes. You see where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, good luck. Like, you might cap second, I'm not saying you don't, but, like, unless they make a big mistake, just with how ults work in Overwatch, they did not spend very much to win that fight, and now they have 2 ults for this, they'll have 2 more ults for the next fight, maybe 3, and then it's not until the 3rd fight that you're sort of in this at all type thing. Okay. Well, if they make terrible positioning mistakes, no.
They do.
Even then, it's not going to be enough.
Yeah. I think that was where I missed a Valk cooldown because I held shift too long in it and the cooldown didn't start. Or
Yep.
I missed the dash cooldown. The cooldown didn't start fast enough, so I couldn't get it again before I fell out of line of sight.
All good. That was a winnable fight, but I'm not going to go back and micro it super hard for you guys, even though it was a winnable fight, because the macro sort of takes precedence. The macro is more generally approachable there, and we understand from a macro perspective that fight, while we still want to execute properly, was going to be very hard. That, however, I will get into. So, this is, like, really aggressive for Zarya, and I'm not sure why it's so aggressive for Zarya. Like, I'm looking at this. Okay. Why would I ever be here?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not the Zarya though.
Okay,
The
that's
Zarya
fine.
isn't here.
That's fine. Zarya isn't here. Okay, so this is really weird, and we shouldn't do this. Our DPS, like our Tracer, can go over here. Our Echo might think about going over there. We're never going to send our Zarya out here. Like, our Zarya's going to stand more... Our Zarya's going to come from the boring angle with our team. If our whole team rotated this way, maybe our Zarya would be here. But this is not our whole team rotating this way. This is Zarya going out here alone to try to, like, play musket sniper with right clicks. Just like... Play Siege and try to aim your right clicks from here. Try to guess where they are. Like, that's going to be better. This is super vulnerable and does get punished, I hope?
Yeah, I think they all...
Yeah. No, no. We're not going to commit into this. Once the Tracer playing over there. I mean, Echo Mercy will be able to pick on Reinhardt. Our Zarya's on ball. Okay. So that got messy. It happened to break down in ways that you liked, where it's like, oh, look, an unsupported Reinhardt. Yes, we'll pick on that. And we were able to get the Lucio. I don't love the decision to engage how we did into that fight, where it's like they got the opening rather than just be like, we'll calmly reset. We sort of went, nah, we think we have a big enough opening when we didn't really have much of an opening at all. And we went in and we used the Nano Monkey, committed into that. We're able to get this. And hey, I'm glad that that worked out. Probably would have been cheaper to just go, we'll wait 15 seconds and then go, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Good. Control both routes.
Nerf this. Helden sterben nicht.
Adaptive circuits
Fine.
engaged. Diva.
I was about to get answered there, so anyway.
Nerf
This.
All systems checked. I'm back.
Targets. Who are we on? Diva. Fine. Looks like we mostly were decided we were on Diva there, but not quite a hard enough decision. So that's unfortunate. It looks like we didn't quite hard enough decide we were on the Diva here, and Diva was a reasonable target, and we were like, oh no, Tracer and Nana are dealing with things over here, and hey, that happens. Like, that isn't the end of the world, but we definitely should have been able to finish this one off with a little bit better focus fire. We were definitely ahead enough in this fight. We didn't take a good, clean starting engage, but the reason we didn't take a good, clean, strong starting engage is because they were sort of coming out here haphazardly with ults to try to get into the fight, and they didn't get a ton of value out of those fights. So I can quickly go back over this, but we're at this. Now we're sort of on the Diva grade. Not really getting super heals or anything. And then we come and change our mind on targets. I get it. We hit the sleep, but
60 seconds.
we sort of didn't get enough done. Do get the Reinhardt. Yeah, that's fine.
Have a taste.
Thirty seconds remaining.
Right idea.
10 seconds remaining.
It's basically 3, but we didn't get enough
10
rotation.
seconds remaining.
And I get jumped by Tracer and destroyed.
Yeah.
I did not do well
10
there.
seconds remaining.
That fight needs to go better. Like, this is actually going fine over here, but this just needs to go better. Let's get into it.
10 seconds remaining.
Mercy, how quick do you see this? Oh, you know the Tracer's already here.
Yeah, I know she's already here, and I'm worried about Ana. I'm calling to Ana that Tracer's coming behind
10
us.
seconds remaining.
Oh, yeah.
And then I realize, oh fuck, she's already up here.
Yep. And then you drop and get in even more trouble. Okay,
Those were
so...
some nice headshots on her, though.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm good with projectile aim.
Just don't-
I just panicked.
Just don't actually fall without GAing back up. Yeah, okay.
That was just reflex. That was purely like panic reflex.
I get it. I do.
Overtime. وريهم قوتك.
Nerf this.
Okay.
Something that I do remember we did call after this as an idea was after we captured first point was thinking about switching to more of a brawl for second on.
No.
Would that have been a good idea or
No.
sticking with it?
Second point is actually a pretty high ground intensive point, and the high ground intensive points are actually when you most don't want to be on like a full brawl. You want something with a
Right.
little more mobility. You could make the decision of, hey, we're going to go brawl for third. You could even in theory go, we like brawl for first and third, and we're going to try to snowball second, brute force second because we don't want to reset ult economies. But you wouldn't swap into brawl for second. Okay.
All right.
Makes sense.
Your guys' issue
Ready
wasn't your
for battle.
composition. It was that you blew up your own ult economy, then took a really weird Zarya engage over here, then got dumpstered on too hard by a Tracer here, and then in between just didn't focus fire well enough here to actually win a brawly, messy fight that should have been yours. Like, those are the things that went wrong here, to be honest. On second.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Somebody was adding time.
Yep, no, that happens. I'm used to it in scrim codes. It just took me a second. I'm not so used to it in diamond games, to be honest. Most of the time I find teams below about 4.3, 4.4 start getting really antsy about, please coach between, scrims, not between rounds, blah, 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 blah. So I'm actually used to teams not adding time. I ignore them, of course, but, I do understand that. Okay, so you guys are set up. You guys are set up this time with double poke with your double bubble. This does, of course, give you the grab dragon combo, but where are you setting up in terms of Storm is floating in midair, and Mosaic is insecurity. Okay.
I'm not feeling very confident about my life choices right about this moment. Yeah, I see that coming.
Yeah.
I'm looking right at the Winston right there.
Right. So not the end of the world. And then we're going to defensively soak on our Winston. Were we able to get good energy out of that? That's about what I thought. Okay. So this is tough, right? But we can't have a zero energy projected bubble right before the fight turns real. So we got to figure out, well, how do we reliably get energy out of this bubble defensively? Well, it looks like Winston's doing the right thing. It looks like Winston's doing something that could demand that, but those look too close in proximity, don't they? Like, if we look at when our two bubbles are used, this looks a little too, whoops, we used our bubbles kind of in the wrong order, and we used them too close to each other, right? Again, I know I'm talking to a Zarya player that isn't here, but this will be recorded. Hopefully they can go visit it, and this is something that our Zarya and Winston have to get on the same page on, because this really is important for the team having enough stopping power. Sweet! Let's abuse them, because that was a terrible bubble. Okay.
I hear the call that Tracer's on our Ana here.
Yeah, that's
And
why is our because you're with the McCree.
I was hiding from the Winston.
Unfortunate. Hiding from the Winston?
I was trying to just stay over here where I could dash away if he jumped.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the life choices that got you here. You're trying to
Not good
maximize
ones, I assure you.
distance. You're trying to maximize distance so that you have fast GA speed or big displacement on your GA. I understand. Yeah. And they recognize that, and the Tracer takes advantage of it. That's unfortunate. So this unfortunately was a thing where you did sort of actually want to go tuck more over here because this is better cover against this stuff. And the Winston can't actually body block you with GA available. He can body block you if you try to walk, but he can't body block you with GA, and he used his jump to get up here anyways. So this both gave you better cover against main, gave you better cover against security, wasn't really worse against the Winston, and potentially gave you a better ability to go help out your buddy back here who's gonna now go, what I might love milk but don't love you anymore, you just left me out to dry.
That sounds like something he would say.
Put it on my
Your
tab.
support has arrived.
Okay. fine. Reasonable. Now Winston's gonna have to figure out how to get out. Oh, and our Winston can't get out because our Zarya went in. Okay, so this is a little wrong. So what we run into with this comp when we're playing like this is now we're playing 5-1. We're not playing 4-2 or 3-3 anymore. And what I mean by that is the Winston team versus the backline team. The DPS are in our backline team. The Zarya is also in our backline team. The Mercy is in our backline team. So that means everyone except the Winston is in our backline team, right?
Mhm.
So that actually means our win condition is their Winston comes in and we just blow him up. That's how we're going to win. We might be spread out with angles to do it, but we're looking to break and beat up their Winston. Now, our Winston is still going to go in, but our Winston is going in to distract the backline. He's still going to get his Zarya bubble, but we don't expect an unassisted Winston other than Ana heals, Nano, Primal, and Zarya bubble to actually be getting eliminations outside of those ults, do we? Like,
Probably
hey,
not,
you've
no.
got some mana healing and you've got a Zarya bubble. Are you gonna get heals against a comp against a backline that is Ana, Brig, McCree, Zarya? Is that happening?
No.
Right.
Not
So
unless they make some terrible, terrible mistake.
right, exactly. So your Winston is still going in because him going in stops the McCree, the Ana, and such from supporting their Winston's aggressive play. But you're really playing, you're not actually counter diving because your Winston is still diving their backline to keep them out. That's more value most of the time than him trying to peel the Winston with how Zarya energy bubbles work and with how Winston's bubble itself works. But you're actually expecting that if you win team fights, it's going to be off of you eliminating the Winston or maybe the Tracer that has come in. Fair?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So your Winston's actually going to have to be able to get out, which he can, but your Zarya needed to be back here. Again, I know I'm talking about the Zarya that's not here. Sorry, guys, but like it
Oh,
is. This is
I'll make him watch this 100%.
okay. Okay. And the Winston gets out safely, and the Zarya doesn't, and it's like, oh, that's unfortunate.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
Some weird movement here.
Some weird what? Movement?
I'm just laughing at how I'm moving here.
Oh
Or
yeah.
how I was moving here.
Their nano engage. So Winston, you just need to keep them out at this point. The nano on the Winston is fine, but your job is to not let these guys contribute. I don't need you to peel. I don't need you to come back and peel. I just need you to be like, nope, you guys can't come in. Nope, there's a bubble here that doesn't let this McCree contribute. Nope, Ana, you're not allowed to come in here. Go ahead.
I was about to jump back and I didn't know I was about to be nanoed there.
Okay, no problem.
I'm feeling.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh, they could have totally taken advantage of this and thrown support over here, but they didn't. That's
Yeah.
good.
I didn't know where their Ana was.
Yep.
I probably should have guessed security.
All good. All good. I'm not too worried. They came and contributed to this, and you are tying up 4 people. You're using an ult to do it, but you're tying up 4 people. So your team has plenty of ability to weather the storm back here from a Nano, Winston, plus Tracer. There's 5 of them. They can do it. Well, not a great start. But hey, traded back there.
Der Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei.
It's Hanu.
Right idea.
And I knew Kree was looking for noon, Storm was calling, he was looking for noon, or he had noon. And so that's why I was specifically waiting to res him.
Yep,
Because
that
I
makes
knew
sense.
he had it.
We better res to get back our ult that's as good as the reload. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I just wanted something to get the pressure off us.
I know. Okay, so Hanzo, I need you to take the high ground. I need you to be more willing to take this. This is yours. The Winston may jump up here every time, and you'll do your little skadoodle jump away, and that's fine. But I need you to be like, nope, there's some pressure here. We have angles. Because right now, are you and McCree fundamentally different in where you're playing from?
No, yeah.
And you can make yourself fundamentally different. McCree really can't. That sad little roll just isn't enough to give him good angles. So you're gonna have to use Hanzo's kit to get some height to create angles. Even
I
if
miss when you could roll through the air. That
yes,
was nice.
yes. Again, we're stacking our damage here, and we don't want that because there's going to be situations where the Winston's going to jump in, and we'd sure like to be able to be like, pow pow, blow you up, plus pow pow, blow you up from different directions. Like, we sure would like to make it that, and then once we deal with him, they're pushing in and they're like, ew, I'm getting shot from there and there type thing. This doesn't have to be where someone plays from. I'm just using it as the example of we do want the pressure, the concave that they have to push into.
This will only hurt first.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning of the engage here. We're doing this. They throw their that. Sure, that's a little bit annoying. We could predict
Stun
pulse
into
bomb.
pulse bomb.
Yeah, I mean, we could predict it. We could go, hey, if we, this play becomes unviable in some ways, if our Hanzo's up here because they had to send Tracer up here to deal with you, or they had to send Winston up here to make you leave. Again, like, the pressure of, like, it's this spot, it's more dangerous to them. This was pretty passive in terms of your pressure on Brig wants to walk up here and stun you. Okay, that shouldn't really be an option type thing.
This will only hurt
It's
first.
So where should I be instead of where I was?
It's actually not so much a you where you are thing. So what we look at here is Lunar, you being here isn't actually bothering me all that much. What you're looking to do is you're looking to go, hey, I'm going to block out their backline if their Winston comes in, or if their Winston super overcommits, like back here and his backline just can't contribute, I might jump back and peel, but that's only if he can't contribute. What I wanted Mosaic up here so that the play had to first be to remove Mosaic, because if they don't first remove Mosaic, Mosaic is going to eliminate a Brig that tries to bash you there. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. You get whip-shotted back. This happens. This is unfortunate. You actually do have jump pack here, but then you get stunned. Yeah. Unfortunate.
This will only hurt first. Helden sterben nicht. Team Mayhem unstoppable. Огонь по готовности. Огонь
I
по
way too
готовности.
low there.
You did, but this was mostly cleanup for them, regardless. We probably, again, we can go, oh, hey, let's try to grab, let's try to get back in this, but this was always going to be a very hard fight to turn.
60 seconds remaining. Objective lost. Stop the payload.
Fine.
That hurts me right
Yeah,
there.
so that needs to not happen because you guys had just won this fight. Until this happened, until you got stuck and didn't manage to Guardian Angel over here, yes, you used cooldowns, yes, they used cooldowns, but you now get to free drop on them, and you're massively ahead in health right now. Like, your team is massively ahead in health, and you probably recognize that. You have your leap cooldowns and such. You're not going to be, yes, your Hanzo's going to struggle to contribute, but you are perfectly happy to be like, nope, two of us are going to jump down. Mercy's going to heal us from up here. McCree's going to contribute from here. This is an easy, we go in and finish the Winston, maybe get someone else, and then we're either able to leave or we consolidate the fight. Like, this was 100% a committable fight until this right here happened. And, like, even though that Winston jumped out, we could have dropped and taken this Zarya, right?
Mhm.
And even if the Zarya gets out and gets Ana heals, well, now they're like all tucked back here, stacked together in the middle of the lane, and it's just like, okay, well, now we're getting to push you from here, and you're in the sight line of our team. We're, again, pretty happy, not too worried about this. And we shouldn't really be in danger from just a Tracer with our Ana Hanzo team. Conceptually shouldn't be, doesn't mean we aren't.
Yeah, well, I mean, they had to get us back for the one clip on
They
Fab
did.
earlier, I
They
suppose.
did.
Tired.
وريهم قوتك.
I'm feeling unstoppable.
Sorry, let me go back just a touch there. Again, Mosaic, I'm going to want a little bit more spread from you. Like, I'm not liking how comfortable you are just standing with core here, especially when you're the one on this team who can most easily take spots, if you sort of, between you and McCree anyways. I'm going to want a little bit more. I don't necessarily want you here like my example was, but I do want some distance. Like, go ahead.
No. No, you're good.
Okay, got it. Because I do want the ability to go, hey, maybe I'm poking from here. You jump McCree, great, I can contribute from here. You jump my team, great, I can contribute from here. You jump me, fine, I'll jump out back towards my team, and my team can run at me, and my McCree can shoot at me. Like, the team that wins Overwatch matches tends to be the team with more angles and greater angles between them, and there's just not a good reason for Hanzo to be stacked on the team right now. That's not like giving us protection. That's not giving our Hanzo protection against getting dove. If our Hanzo gets dove by a Winston, he's going to hop away and get healed by Ana, right? And it's just as easy to do over here as it is if our Hanzo is right with the team, right? But our offensive power increases quite a bit because cover that's good against our team isn't good against our Hanzo. Like, it's like, oh, look, that cover that's helping against your team isn't helping against your Hanzo, for this spot right here, for example, just as an example. And that cover that's good against your team isn't good against your McCree. That Zarya, for example, is, not in cover against your McCree, is against your team. Different angles helps. We just want to not put our different angle, like, right here as Hanzo. Now we're spreading a little bit.
وريهم قوتك.
I'm feeling unstoppable.
Sure.
Der Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei.
Hold up.
وريهم قوتك.
Feeling powerful.
Hold up.
Let's go back a touch more to get that up in. We're stacked. We didn't really find eliminations. They have Storm gone. Okay. I mean, we're already
Der
just
Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei.
completely surrounded, not in great positions. We're trying to stabilize it like that.
Hold up.
وريهم قوتك.
Feeling powerful. If not even angry.
Okay. So we're setting up for the last fight. No, we're primaling here. I mean, we haven't really gotten anything that leads me to believe that ulting into this fight makes sense. Like, we're not in great shape. They're definitely winning this situation. maybe not like super hard winning, but by enough that moderate tier ult probably isn't going to be enough to turn it. Okay, we're going to Valk as well.
I have a bad habit of seeing other people ult and then pressing Q to try and back them up when I'm trying to support people.
Sure.
No, I didn't realize that my DPS had been killed. That's just my bad.
All good.
Or trophy. I was like looking at the bottom left for my health.
All good. So again, we want to make sure that we're calling when we're using our ults, because at least it'll maybe help our Valk not get used there. Fine.
What are you idiots doing out there? We're going the wrong way.
– 30 seconds remaining.
Their Hanzo's gonna, or their Winston's gonna come in, and we're gonna absolutely blow him up. That was not the play. Okay. So we're dropping in with our Nano, sure. This Winston should instantly get deleted. I believe in you guys. That's too slow. You got caught in the grab, which is just unfortunate. The grab shouldn't be that dangerous up here. This is happening. Do we not have... Oh, we'd set up down here. Oh, okay.
Well, we were set up here and then tap dropped. I think in reaction to the grav?
I think it was just to get the nano off on me. I might have been like, can you go back 5 seconds and watch from their point of view?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
It could have like...
You're powered up. Get in there.
Oh,
Oh,
that's an
they
accident.
probably...
That's clearly an accident.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
If this doesn't happen, we have a sleep for this monkey. If we have a sleep for this monkey, that actually helps quite a bit. Not because, oh, none of you are going to touch the monkey and the monkey's going to stay asleep, but it's literally an extra stun for us. And now we're in this situation where it's like, we've got flash, we've got this. We did not want to use our flash yet. That's unfortunate. We are going to step in and fan. Fan. Oh, we are not damage boosting the fan. We're not damage boosting the second fan.
My fault.
All good. We missed our damage boosts. We got double blocked on our flash. We didn't have our stun from our Ana. We understand why this went poorly. Because, yes, getting grabbed is annoying, but a grab with a non-nanoed monkey shouldn't be this level of annoying.
10 seconds remaining. Oh my god. The payload is approaching its destination.
Gotcha.
The payload has reached the chip.
And this is just the suffering of back spawn, or bad spawn here.
Yep.
Not able to do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have a bad spawn. They're going to take advantage of that. Not a big deal. You safely get out. Now you should be able to organize to actually push out as a group.
60 seconds remaining.
Oh, you guys are hard stacking. Oh no, don't hard stack. Again, your Korean Hanzo are on the same sight line, which we do not want. And we didn't do anything to work our way up here and get someone control of this. Like, yes, our team can push out here and push back the monkey, but as that's happening, one of our DPS can go up here and take control of this, right? And at the very least, that's going to make it way harder for them to finish the map. If things start going well, we push out and we've got this angle. Like, we definitely wanted to go here, and we might have run into a Reaper if we'd done that, which would have been a useful piece of information.
Because that's when we found out they had a Reaper.
Yep.
I'm feeling unstoppable.
30 seconds remaining.
Sure. Should be hard focusing right now. Now you're trying to peel. Fine. Okay, so that's just how the replay codes go sometimes on the custom matches. That's weird. Okay, not too worried. That was last fight territory anyways. We have plenty to talk about
It
from
was
this
last fight.
VOD.
They,
So, oh, go ahead.
They, I believe they snowballed us there and
No problem.
won
Yeah,
after we
they
didn't get
won.
much purchase on our ults. They rallied and
Yep.
primaled and all that. And
Yep, you
Well,
guys sort of used some power here, but you noticed again you were all sort of stacked for this power. It was like, wait, why isn't someone over here? Why isn't someone over here?
well,
Like,
Kree is over there actually.
now
Kree
McCree's
did
over
go
here.
over there.
Yes, McCree did
Yeah.
was over here. You still got a little smooched by the end of it. So it's all like focused right here. We aren't like, hey, we've got someone up here. We aren't like, hey, as you push in, we've got out here and out here. Like in general, for your double poke version of double bubble, I want you guys to take angles more. Like I want you to go, we're going to split a little bit more with our DPS so that we're threatening from more directions. It's not going to hurt our Anna's ability to heal, and it actually makes our Mercy more comfortable because she likes to have different places that she can jump to. So like
It feels a lot better.
right. So that's something that we're going to want to do when we're playing this version. We're also going to understand that it's a 5-1 formation. Our Winston goes in alone. He goes in reaction to their Winston coming in, and most of the time he still does go in and does get the Zarya bubble, but if the Winston way overcommits out of his team's line of sight, he does have permission to occasionally come in and counter dive the Winston instead, if his backline already can't contribute. So that's sort of like how I want you guys to fundamentally think about the double poke version, or the non-echo version of this, because you could have poke with echo, I suppose, and echo can go in with Winston, of this comp, because you're not really driving it properly there, I'd say. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then when it comes to the rest of it, I'd say, hey, you guys need to get your comms in order, and that's fine. You guys can spend more time just sort of experimenting, letting that be, see what naturally drifts. But if something that you doesn't show up that you naturally like the drift of, I'd really recommend that format of like, hey, one to two people are target callers, one of which has priority, the second of which will still target call, but will try to get on the first person's target if practical. If no one is calling, anyone on the team can call out targets or something along those lines to try to jumpstart the target callers, like reminder, we need this. And everyone is responsible for scouting calls. So like, hey, Baps on cafe, Baps dropped, no lamp, no bubble, things like that everyone is responsible for. Those are important. So again, you don't have to do your comms that way. I don't want to be like you have to do this when you've just put together new pieces of a team, because it can take a little bit of time to figure out if something better will do it. And I don't want to be like, this is the only way to do it. Every team's comm structures end up looking a little bit different, but that's sort of that's the generally most transferable template I find for teams, the one that I'm describing right here and now. And then you guys will have a little bit more in terms of, hey, what's our target calling look like? And then we're going to have the ult thing. That's going to be the other big team thing that we're going to talk about, which is I want you guys to call your ults, because you guys saw twice, you guys just blew up your own ult economy, and that leads to unhappy times for the next 2 minutes, which in some cases is the rest of the map there. So if you call your ults, like it's even better if we plan them, but sometimes ults are just going to come out, and we're going to call those ults that we're using on the spot as a reminder to pull attention to them and to remind our team that an ult has been used. Do I really want to use another one type thing? So I can give you guys like a minute or two for questions here. I don't have a ton more time I can do because I do have another session here that I'm running a little late for. But do you guys have any questions here that you'd like to go over?
Not really. I can't think of anything.
Okay,
You've given
Uh,
me a lot to work on, so
would-
I think I'm good.
great.
Yeah.
I just want to say a quick thing. I know this was kind of last minute with how it all worked out, but I appreciate you making it work and being here with us tonight.
No problem.
Yeah,
No problem.
Thank you a bunch. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Good luck to you guys. I will see you next time. Peace.
All right.
Good night.